I call the CFO on the phone, and I'm like, he's saying that you took about $200,000 of cash out of his account, put it in the company account. So he's like, oh yeah, I just had to put some cash in there, you know, just to keep the book, to hit payroll for the month. Please help me understand. How the we just did $1.8 million last month, and we got to borrow $200,000 from a founder. Have a hard time taking an entrepreneur seriously unless they've been through their first war. Like if they haven't been through war, they're not battle tested yet. Right. And when everything is good and easy and the markets are all up and everybody's winning, it's easy to feel like you got the Midas touch, right? 100%. But when it all comes crashing down, how do you rise up out of the ashes? That's the real entrepreneur. How do you pivot?
Welcome back to the Digital Social Hour. I'm your host, Sean Kelly. I'm here with my co-host, Wayne Lewis.
What up, what up?
And our guest today, Keala Kanae.
Hey.
How's it going, man?
Pretty good. Nice little Las Vegas day.
Yeah.
You know, we're enjoying, it's mid-June-ish, and we're still not, you know, hotter than the devil's ass crack.
Yeah,
so
I wonder why that is.
Have we hit 100 yet?
No.
Not yet.
That's a record.
Yeah.
I'm sitting outside on the deck every morning having a cigar, just enjoying these last few days that you can do that.
It's so nice outside.
It has been nice. Yeah, summers here are brutal.
So what'd you pull up in today? Where'd you drive here?
We going there?
Yeah, we going
there. I took my fiance's Cullinan. Yep.
Wow. So your fiance be balling too.
Something like that.
Okay.
Fiance's
I gotta buy her some nice stuff too, you know.
A Cullinan, that's big.
That's more than big. That's
Cullinan is big. You feel that when that pull up, they definitely ain't no damn Escalade.
Yeah.
Well, so I have a Lambo, right?
Which one?
That's like my 2022 Huracan Evo.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to have something. I mean, it's my daily.
Yeah.
But
So
then she had a range.
The Huracan is daily?
Yeah, the Huracan's a daily.
Wow.
But she had a range, and like I really wanted a Cullinan, so it took a long time to convince her that a Cullinan's amazing. And then I got her in the car, and then she loved it. And then I'm like, babe, I just really feel like I have to get this for you. And so now I have to borrow her car when I want to take the Cullinan.
I like Cullinans.
They're sexy.
Let's dive into how you made all this money. So where did you get started, and walk me through it?
Yeah, I started out in my industry now. 2012, I got into affiliate marketing. Within about 7 or 8 months or so, I had quit my job. I was working at a coffee shop at the time for like minimum wage, basically in Hawaii. So quit the job, had my first 5-figure month. That was April 2013. And then kind of the rest is history. And over the next couple of years, made my first $1 million as an affiliate marketer. And then most of the time, I was hit up, like most conversations I was having at the time were people asking me like to show them what I was doing and how I was doing it. And so I had like released some smaller courses on like Facebook advertising, copywriting, email marketing, things like this. And eventually that kind of just grew into a coaching business, which is what it is now.
Nice.
Right now we sell training on affiliate marketing to like very, very beginner level people that are just really just starting to get their feet wet in the industry.
And you've scaled out and done over $100 million in revenue.
Yeah, we've done $100 million in the coaching business.
200 millionaires back to back.
I know, right?
Yeah, so that's since we launched in November of 2016. And we scaled that up pretty quickly. I wouldn't recommend this to anybody, but we got that scaled up to $1 million a month within 4 months of launching. Yeah.
How did you do that? Is it a secret or is it
paid ads?
I wouldn't say it's a secret. I think it's just a matter of like, well, one, you got to consider that I cut my teeth at like the hardest part that a business deals with, right? So as an affiliate marketer, I'm generating customers for somebody else's offers, right? Whatever their products or services are. And then I get paid a commission. And that's where most businesses struggle, is in the customer acquisition component of their business. So because I knew that, once we had our own products to roll out, I knew how to get customers much better than I knew how to fulfill for customers, quite honestly. And so for me, it was just a matter of like doing the numbers. We just knew the numbers really well. So I knew exactly what I can afford to pay on customer acquisition. And I know when I'm going to get a return on that, like when I'm going to get liquid on that. And so we just started to scale up the advertising, you know, basically as quickly as we could. So we got to about $30,000 a day of ad spend within about 4 months.
That's crazy.
So what is that a month? That's $1 million a month, right?
We're spending $1 million a month on ads.
Shout out to today's sponsor, HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. They do all the shopping and meal planning for you. Ingredients arrive at your doorstep pre-portioned, ready to cook, along with step-by-step recipe cards that are pictured. I used to suck at cooking, but HelloFresh makes it very easy to cook. They also save you money. HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% less expensive than takeout. If you order food a lot or you grocery shop a lot, HelloFresh is there to save you money and time. I value my time a lot. That's why I'm a fan of HelloFresh. I cook it with my fiance every week. Our favorite meals are the chicken orzo, the salsa verde enchiladas, and they got so many more options for you guys. Check out their site. Let me know your favorite recipes in the comments below. If you want America's #1 meal kit, go to hellofresh.com/50DSH for 50% off and free shipping. That's hellofresh.com/50DSH and use code 50DSH for 50% off plus free shipping. Let me know what you guys order in the comments below. Can't wait to see it. Peace.
By the end of, actually that didn't take 4 months. So we got to $1 million a month in ad spend, I think May or June of 2017.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and we were paying, at the time we were paying $500 acquisition for a $99 buyer. So we're paying $500 to get somebody to spend $99 with us. But we knew on the back end, within about 60 to 90 days, on average, we were getting about 1,000 to 1,500 in return, right? So yeah, we scaled it up pretty quick. Now in hindsight, I was paying too much on customer acquisition because being an affiliate marketer, I had never really taken into account like the whole fulfillment costs and all these other things, right? It was just literally dollar in, dollar out, because I don't have any fulfillment expenses as an affiliate. But as the team started to grow and fulfillment costs started to grow and all these sorts of things, then that was no longer really like sustainable, long term.
So what was your ROI the first month that you spent $1 million on advertisements?
That first month we did $1 million on $1 million on ads.
Yeah. So when your first month of spending $1 million on ads, what was your ROI that first month?
Well, he lost money, I think.
Well,
no,
I
not
mean,
yet.
Think about it. He's spending
2018. Yeah, man, you looked up some stuff. Yeah, 2018 we started like losing money, but 2017 we were spending $1 million on ads, doing about 1.8 to maybe $2 million a month, high end. So again, really not taking into account all the other expenses in the business. 2017 was like really profitable for us. I want to say we did about we did just shy of $20 million 2017. I'm trying to recall all the numbers in my head. And I think profit that year was like somewhere around $5 million. So
that's a lot.
Not too bad.
Not bad at all.
No, that's not bad. I mean, the months, spending $1 million a month. I mean, and on average, he said he was, kind of breaking in between
solid.
500 to 800. So you're kind of breaking even certain months too, right?
Later on, we started to break even as like the company got more bloated. Yeah. And there was more overhead. Then
so how did you pivot?
longer that CPA was going to work for us.
Yeah. How did you pivot in 2018 when the returns started getting lower?
So this is an interesting story, man. This is like the dark side of entrepreneurship.
I love it.
A lot of people don't want to talk about.
Let's go.
Okay. So November of 2017. So October of 2017, we had run a promotion that month. So that was our first $3 million month in revenue. November of 2017, I'm looking at the bank accounts and I'm like, how is cash sliding backwards over these last couple of months? And especially when we just had like the biggest month that we had in terms of revenue. So I reach out to the CFO and I'm like, hey, you need to like help me understand how this cash is sliding backwards, because you're showing me these profits on all these, on your presentations every week, but I'm not seeing cash in the bank account grow. The CFO, and by the way, that's using the term CFO. Oh my God, I have some funny stories for you guys that I've probably never shared publicly. But let's just say that title was being used loosely on this person. Right. And my business partner at the time had brought him in because for whatever reason, like he really liked the guy. So he, having a background in finance and me not, really he just started kind of like making excuses, talking over my head, putting together PowerPoint presentations and kind of showing stuff. And I'm like, that all is cool, bro, but I'm just looking at cash in the bank. Like I just want to know where the cash is going. He began to kind of hide behind my business partner at the time, which made it hard for me because we were kind of sharing the CEO role in the organization. So, when two people are in charge, really nobody's in charge. So he began to hide behind my business partner. I didn't really have a way to nail him down. as a result of that. So what I started doing is like negotiating the CEO contract for myself going into 2018. So by March of 2018, I had secured my contract as CEO. And immediately the first thing that I did was start going to that guy and trying to find out what was happening with the finances in the business. What ends up happening is I get on a call. This is early April of 2018. I get on a call with my partner at the time and he goes, hey, so-and-so, the CFO, I think he took like $200,000 out of my bank account and put it in the company account. I'm like, what? Why would he do that? I didn't know anything about that. Nobody told me about this. He's like, I'm pretty sure that's what happened. So I call the CFO. I'm on Zoom with my partner. I call the CFO on the phone, and I'm like, yo, so-and-so. I'm on with my partner, and he's saying that you took about $200,000 of cash out of his account, put it in the company account. Because he had access to all our bank accounts. He also had like power of attorney. I mean, we're scaling up really, really quickly, right? So there's a lot of loose ends in the business. So he's like, oh yeah, I just had to put some cash in there, just to keep the book, to hit payroll for the month. And I'm like, so, please help me understand. How the we just did $1.8 million last month and we got to borrow $200,000 from a founder. I'm like yelling at this dude. Yeah. Pause. And he says, this is hilarious. Keala, it's not my job to make sure the company is profitable. That's the CFO. I'm like, bro, Google your title, dude. That's like, that is exactly your job. That's your only job, actually, right? So I hang up with him, and I'm looking at my partner. I'm like, I don't know what happened, but I'm gonna get to the bottom of it. I called my HR manager at the time, and I said, hey, I got to fire this guy. The only question is when, and how soon. And so we began formulating a plan to like get him out. That conversation. So as I rip him out of the business and everything, and then I had to go in. So about a week later, I fire him. I finally get better optics into the finances now, because in the meantime, I had brought on another team I'd already been kind of talking to start auditing the books. Yeah. When they came in and started auditing things, I got a better look at the finances. So I had to go in, fire this dude, and then go to my office a few days later, and about a week later, and I had to let go of 16 people in the office. Then I had to have a meeting in the office with everybody gathered around and reassure them that everything was going to be okay after they just watched 16 of their friends walk out, some of them in tears. So I had to tell them that everything was going to be okay. And then around that time, I had a conversation with my business partner, and I had basically said to him that, like, listen, this partnership's no longer fair and equitable. I mean, you're on vacation 8 months of the year out of the year. I'm on the ground. So come to find out in that process too, from the auditing,
there was stealing.
No, there was no stealing. So the guy was just so incompetent. He was just writing. I mean, I guess he thought his job was to just sign the front of checks, because he was just handing out checks.
He was giving away the money
in all the different departments. He was just grossly overspending everywhere.
Oh.
So we were overpaying. Like, we couldn't afford the CPA that we had originally gotten used to, the $500 for a $100 buyer, but we were still at around those numbers. But with the excess expenses in the business, with all the overhead now, that was no longer a profitable move.
You were overspending.
Yeah.
You were overcompensating there.
Wow. But what happened is, so check this out. So the auditing team goes in, they start trying to uncover whether there was any malicious activity. There wasn't, but they found that my name was the guarantor on all of our merchant accounts. So in other words, like, I'm personally guaranteeing the business. So if anything goes sideways, the banks can all come after me. And then on top of that, they found documents showing that there was $1 million loan taken out in my name by the CFO from 3 different lenders. So I had a $500,000 loan and two $250,000 loans that I was unaware of at the time, because he had power of attorney. So he was able to sign off on that stuff. So he was just basically trying to cover up his mistakes, as far as we can tell.
Right. Yeah, you would think he would have calculated at some point. I'm like, okay, I got to stop doing this. This is where I'm messing up.
Well, you would think.
Yeah, that's like,
if it were your money, you would probably do that.
It's easy versus getting the loans. Like, bro, you messed up that month, so just fix it.
So the operator that he had brought, that guy had referred us, the operator at the time, who was the second in command behind me. And when I had gone to that guy and finally said, like, yo, I got to let this guy go, then he confesses that CFO had previously bankrupted another business that he had worked inside of, and nobody had ever bothered to tell us that.
Jeez.
Right? So of course he left that out of his resume, and then the guy that he referred over obviously wasn't going to tell us, hey, by the way, the guy that just referred me into your company bankrupted the last company I was working with or whatever.
Wow.
So yeah, it's just he was just in over his head. But that starts the conversation between my business partner and I of like, listen, I got this $1 million loan. So I'm the guarantor on every financial risk that we have right now. I'm on the ground 8 months out of the year that you're on vacation doing everything. When you come in for your 4 months, you just kind of cause chaos and pandemonium, and then I got to clean it up when you leave, right? So this is no longer fair and equitable. So I need to have 85% of the shares of the company, because he was an overseas partner.
85%.
So I was like, I had 50%, right? So I was like, I need to have 85% shares of the company so that I can try to get a consolidation loan on this and pay a fair interest rate, because the average interest rate between those 3 loans is about 18%. So you're talking about like a credit card now, basically, right? And then to make matters worse, the merchants at that time, they had a holdback on our accounts because we're considered high risk. I mean, there's no credit card. I mean, there's no ID at the time of purchase and all this. Right. It's a digital product, blah, blah, blah.
So they had a rolling reserve on there? So they would close a percentage of your funds up and release them every 30 or 40, 60 days or whatever?
Yeah, every 90 days.
Every 90 days.
So what happened is we had about $1.6 million held in reserves, but now I couldn't get it because the CFO, who when he took out the loan, he signed the reserves over as the collateral. So in other words, instead of him getting the money out of the merchants, he took a loan against the money in the merchants. And so to put it differently, I borrowed $1 million from myself at 18% interest.
And he blew it. So
he blew it.
He blew it. So he was at even.
Exactly.
But technically, you didn't have to pay that $1 million back. It was already paid. It was just locked up.
It was locked up, yeah. So we had to start paying. I had to keep paying on the notes while we tried to get the money to be released from the merchants. And then as we were releasing the money from the merchants, we were using that to pay down the loans because I couldn't take the money out without paying down the loans. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where were you at mentally during all this? Were you super depressed or were you just fighting through it?
He 4 people. What do you mean, bro? That's why he's here. So what happened that night?
Where were you on April 30th, 2018?
You probably wanted to that guy.
So the 16 people, were they all in cahoots or were they one, like, why fire 16 people?
Yeah, because they were just excess overhead.
I got you.
Because I was trying to turn the company around.
I got you.
So then, so because even more of the story, a lot of this stuff I've never said publicly, so we'll see how this goes. But so me and the business partner, I have the meeting with him and I tell him, so like, listen, I need 85% of the company. The question is not if we get there. The question is only how we get there.
Right.
That's it. He obviously didn't like that. So then we started to talk about like the negotiations to break up, blah, 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 blah. Eventually he got to a point where he was like, if you're going to do that, then, you need to buy me out completely. I don't want to be a minority shareholder. So then it became which one of us was going to buy the other one out, that whole thing. Well, as that information gets out that me and the co-founder are having fallout, I had a dev team at the time that was 8 developers, 1 project manager who was project management / QA, because we were also trying to build our own software at the time, and a CTO. So I had about $130,000 a month of burn rate on this like software business. The CTO finds out that we're having a problem and he like resigns. Doesn't even give me the 2 weeks. He gives me like 8 days or whatever the number was. And I was like, bro, why are you going to resign? He's like, I've been here. I've been through this kind of stuff before with founders. I don't want to be here for what's going to happen next. I'm out. So I then had $130,000 of burn on the software business with nobody to run that business. There was so all the developers now have no boss.
Wow.
Right? So then I got to figure out what they have their hands on that we still need in order for us to survive, and how to basically chop them out without them chopping our legs out from under us, because they have access to all the servers and everything that, we're running the business.
How was those nights when you go home and lay in a bed?
Yeah. That's why I asked. Like, where were you at?
How was those nights going home? Like, that's just a lot.
That is, and there's my COO at the time. I didn't know he was in cahoots with my business partner at the time.
Jeez.
So he was feeding my business partner all the information about like how I was maneuvering on my side of the equation. So I was always wondering like, how the did he know that I was going to do that?
How do you know I was at the gym?
So then I talked to one of my other buddies
Right.
that was working with me in the business, the director of media at the time, and he said, well, why don't you there's only so many people that are going to be talking to that guy. Why don't you just feed everybody a different lie and see which one comes back?
Yeah.
So that's what I did. And that's how I found out that my COO was stabbing me in the back.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you fired him.
He resigned because my partner had already given him a position in another entity that he was spinning up.
Yeah.
So at this point, the business is technically imploding on you, right? So now what? So now what's the strategy now?
So over the next few months, it was a lot of like cutting spend and cutting like wasted overhead. I got rid of the office that we had. We had like a 15,000 or 12,000 square foot office, was costing us, I don't know, 15,000 something a month or something like this. Got rid of that. Cut a lot of heads, started looking at our ad spend, started cutting down the ad spend quite a bit to like bring down the cost per acquisition. So we'd bring in less customers, but they'd be more profitable for us, that whole thing. It takes about 3 months or so for me to turn that thing back around and get us back into the black where we're like profitable again.
Yeah.
Now remember
That's not bad though.
It's not too bad. It gets better though.
Yeah.
So then remember the dev team has no oversight right now.
Yeah.
At some point they decided to change servers on us. So they migrate everything from one set of servers to another set of servers for whatever reason. In that migration, they missed one of the IPs that was connected to our email marketing. So none of our emails were delivering. But we didn't know this. All of a sudden, our customer acquisition starts dropping. I just get the thing turned around, and all of a sudden, customer acquisition starts dropping. The conversion rates in our funnel start dropping tremendously. It takes us 3 weeks to identify what happened. We figure out what happened. That mistake cost another $600,000 of lost revenue. Just as I get us back to the black, the very next month, back to the red again. Yeah. And in a way, so we had other businesses on the side. My partner had basically removed me from the payment structure in another business. So he took about $10,000 a month out of my pocket because we were an affiliate for an offer that was sending us checks in the mail. So he had the checks redirected to him. And so that took $10K a month out of my pocket. Jeez. Then we were consulting with another company that was doing about $500,000 a month at this time, quite profitably. He got on with them and kind of convinced them that I was like some evil madman that was trying to force him out of the company. Yeah. So they turned their backs on me and cut me out of that business. Also, not quite legally, but it wasn't worth my time at the time to like fight that battle, right? Like you can only fight a war on so many fronts.
Absolutely.
So the bright side of that is that because all of those challenges were happening in the company, it was making the buyout, it was drowning the value of the business. So it was making the buyout of my partner cheaper and cheaper, essentially, right? He had a very unrealistic expectation of what he thought that the value was of the business versus what we ran it through 3 different companies for them to come up with the value of the business. And let's just say they were light years apart. Right. So by us going through all those challenges and this thing dragging out, his number that he's asking for keeps coming down. And then by December of that year, we finally get, he sends over a contract, an agreement that's a bit more feasible. And we have 2 weeks of cash left in the business. Wow. So I end up signing the agreement. I take all the money that I have left to my name and give him the initial payment on that buyout agreement with the additional payment being due 6 months later. And I ran a promo at the end of December of that year that brought in $2.2 million of cash by January. So it got us flush again, got us back into the black. And then I just started, basically 2019, I spent that whole year I went from 60 plus person team-ish to a 12 person team in 2019. I got rid of the software company. I got rid of everything that was not the core of the business. And we just got, my mantra to the team was like, we got to get back to basics. So we're going to keep the main thing. So I went down to a 12 person team. We got focused on SOPs and building a stronger foundation, building out hiring processes, getting clear on the direction of the business, revisiting all the finances, what can we afford to pay per customer, all these things. And over the course of 2019, we went from 21 million in 2018, we went to 10 million in 2019, and then 7 million in 2020. as a result of me just continuing to cut back and try to stay focused on keeping the main thing the main thing. And then since then, so it took us a couple of years to turn that thing around after it was all
most people
said and
would have
done.
gave up.
For sure.
Most people, that's a crazy story. And that happened within 6 months, a 6 month span, all that.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Jeez.
So you got
8 months-ish.
major trust issues with business partners now.
No, man, I did a lot of work on that stuff.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to let the world change me.
Yeah. You just
know?
change the people that's in it. Well, that you're around.
Well,
Yeah.
a lot of it, like, don't get me wrong, there was a ton of stress. I mean, like, I had to drink every night to go to bed, bro.
Like now.
Only you were supposed to know this was vodka, bro. So, it's not. Yeah, I mean, it was stressful. But basically at the time what I was doing, it was like a lot of, thankfully I've done a lot of personal development work. I've done a lot of mindset work. I had a coach that was working with me on that stuff during that time. And so a lot of what I was doing was just trying to balance my perspectives on everything that was happening and see all the blessings and the curses that were taking place, like seeing the benefits to the drawbacks that I was experiencing. Right. You know what I mean? Because everything in the universe is really both. There's nothing that's there's for every benefit there's an equal drawback. For every drawback there's an equal benefit, because everything in the universe is based on equanimity. But because we have perception, we perceive more negative than positive or more positive than negative in our human perception, which is really just imbalanced perspectives of the mind. So like if we say something is positive, that's really just we're conscious of the benefits, unconscious of the drawbacks. If we label something negative, we're conscious of the drawbacks, unconscious of the benefits. But to bring the mind back into balance is to make the unconscious conscious and see both, and that both are, happening at the same time. So a lot of what I was doing was like all the emotional charges that I had about my partner, I would sit with my coach and I would list like all my judgments of him. Like, so let's say I was perceiving him as being selfish. Then I want to look at my life. Okay, where in my life have I been selfish? And I want to own all the traits so that I can see that I'm not better than him or greater than him. He's not less than, he's not greater than, but that, everything that I'm judging is also what I am.
Wow. That's a crazy way to look at it.
Well, yeah, that's
because he saw himself projecting on others, and then he realized, oh, what am I doing in my life that's causing me to think that way, right?
Right. Well,
so what we judge about others is really what we disown about ourselves.
He stopped being a victim and started to be understand that he was a participant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he removed himself from like, oh, this happened to me, to where it's like, how did I miss these things, and what was my involvement in all this? Right. Because technically, the birds of a feather is a true thing, so you basically kind of hang around mirror images of yourself,
right,
or where you lack.
Right. The other part of it, like to your point about like having trust issues, is some of the stuff that I've learned over the years is like, whatever we judge, we attract, create, or become. So if I were to go through that whole experience and at the end of it be judging that it was negative, that it was bad, that partnerships are evil, that nobody can be trusted, if I were to live with those judgments, I'm going to attract more of those experiences into my life to wake me up to that illusion. Right. So in other words, when we don't learn the lesson that's to be learned, we repeat the lesson over and over and over again until we learn it. And I don't want to live my life learning the same lessons over and over and over again. I want to evolve to new lessons, right? Because as we evolve to new challenges, that's basically what evolution is. And so I wanted to be able to walk away from that experience without having all of the additional baggage. I'm not going to say that was easy. I mean, initially I was, I don't know if I'll ever have a partnership again.
Right.
But today I have 6.
Nice.
All profitable.
Right.
So
that's great.
I was able to walk away with that without it becoming baggage that I carried into my future.
Plus,
that makes sense.
What it did too, on a positive note, was 1, keeps you on your toes. 2, you start to pay attention to signs. You kind of know something's not right, versus like allowing the ship to sink and then underwater, like who sunk the ship? Kind of, you kind of see it before it's coming, in a sense, and you're able to read people better. So your partners are actually probably way better than your last ones.
My partnership agreements are a lot stronger as a result of that. Like what I learned about, like we didn't have to go back and forth in lawsuits. We could have had other things in our operating agreement that would have prevented that. So my partnerships are based on like stronger contracts that prevent a lot of that drama. And yes, picking better characters to work with. All of those things being, and really at the end of the day, I would say, as challenging as that experience was, if I had it all to do over again, I would want it to play out exactly the way that it played out. Like, I'm grateful for exactly how it happened. I mean, people go to school for years to learn what I learned over the course of, an 8-month catastrophe. So that was my master's degree in business.
Right. I would say that's the true triumph of or definition of an entrepreneur. Exactly what he just broke down and experienced is what entrepreneurship is. It's adapting, it's learning, right? It's pivoting also, and then it's maneuvering through the bullshit. You got to re-strategize, revisit the business model. You have to change that. Yep. You have to. It's entrepreneurship is such an intricate thing when it comes to the person who's actually the actual entrepreneur. And most people only see
a lot of people can't handle it.
Ferraris and the Lambs and the Cullinans, but they don't actually see like, this is what I had to go through.
They see the fantasy side of it, but not like the dark side of it.
Well, that's all it's selling. And entrepreneurship is a lot dark. It's a lot more dark days than there are.
There's a balance. People see the glamour, but there's
and that's all they're chasing.
Sleepless nights with it.
A lot of times these days, to be honest, like, you'll see people on the come up, and some fairly popular characters in the industry, but I really have a hard time taking an entrepreneur seriously unless they've been through their first war. Like, if they haven't been through war, they're not battle tested yet. Right. And when everything is good and easy and the markets are all up and everybody's winning, it's easy to feel like you got the Midas touch, right?
100%.
But when it all comes crashing down, how do you rise up out of the ashes? That's the real entrepreneur.
How do you pivot?
Easily, Man, what's next for you?
These days, I mean, so right now, we still have the coaching business. That's probably like the primary business.
Yeah. We didn't even get into that story.
We didn't even hear his
story. Your story was so. Tell us about the coaching business, quick before.
So we're teaching people affiliate marketing. That's the primary business right now.
Yeah.
And we do that through online courses, and then there's like a mentorship program. Gotcha. So we actually just revamped that. So now it's a 60-week, 60. It's a 60-week program with 12-week modules. So it's 5 12-week modules. First is a tutoring module where we get their whole business set up, and then they work with my master trainers for 12-week segments on 4 core components of building the business. And then as an aside to that, so my philosophy is that like success is the marriage of skill set and mindset, right? So if you're greatly skilled, but you don't have the confidence, the clarity, the vision, all the different things that go into like truly being successful, it feels like a nightmare. You wake up every day knowing that you could do better than the person out there actually accomplishing, but you're actually not getting the result. Yeah. And then mindset, a lot of the kumbaya stuff out there, lighting candles, making vision boards and a lot of this stuff, like that's all cool. But if you don't have a valuable skill set to offer to the marketplace, no money's going to show up, right. So we also have a personal development business that we've been building on the side. So we take our clients and we also promote our personal development classes. They're live event classes. So we also promote those. And then March of this year. No. What month is this, bro? That's June? A common entrepreneur. What day is it, bro?
June.
It's June 23rd.
It's June. Yeah. So last month, May, I closed on a 322-acre ranch.
Wow.
That we'll be using for the...
Where? Texas?
East Texas, yeah.
Nice.
It's in a little town called Pittsburgh, Texas, about 2 hours east of DFW.
Sounds sick.
But we close on that, and that's like for us to do the higher level retreats for those classes. That's where we'll be able to do that now. So we should hopefully be breaking ground on that in the next like 3 months.
Nice.
And be able to have our first class on that property, hopefully in 12 months from today. So
that's exciting.
Next June.
And where can they find the course at?
There's like really not much information about that online. I mean, InspirianX.com.
Okay.
Is INSIPIREANX.com. But there's not really much information there because we're not like even opening it up to cold traffic yet. It's just all of our existing customers going through those classes as well.
Okay.
But when you ask like what's next, my more passion project is that. So I really want to build that. I'll probably never sell that company. That's like my legacy play. And so I want to build something that will be around 100 years after I'm gone.
Wow. Gotcha. That's hard to do.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Man, Keala, it's been a pleasure. I'm speechless. Like, that story was
that story
crazy.
I was locked in.
I don't even know what to say. Wayne, you got anything?
Nah, I want you guys continue to believe in yourself, and always know that the best investment is yourself.
I agree. I've never gotten a better investment than that, actually.
Right.
Yeah. Can't be yourself. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.
Peace.